Thank you very much. We've already had a good meeting. We're going to have breakfast. It wasn't planned, but we'll do it spontaneously because we have tremendous chemistry together. The Prime Minister of Iraq has been incredible. He won an election that many people didn't expect could be won by anyone else, by someone who, in my opinion, wasn't a good person. He wasn't good for America, and I don't think he was good for Iraq. And I played a role in that. I mean, it was very important to me that someone took office who could do the job and do it well. And now we have a fantastic champion, a new champion. And he won the election very clearly, very conclusively, and he wasn't the favorite. But when they got to know him, he ended up winning, and he's going to be there for a long time. It's a great honor to have the Prime Minister of Iraq here. He has been a great fighter for us and a great admirer of America. We'll discuss that a little with you. But they have enormous oil reserves, they have tremendous potential for wealth, and they already have tremendous wealth, not just potential. But he did a lot of work in a short time. He changed that country so much, especially in the way they think about the United States, and we have partnerships. Chris just said that we have huge oil partnerships that have started coming together recently, and I think you will announce them this week or next. But these are huge partnerships, among the biggest. So they did fantastic work in this short period, a really short period of time. But they have a great leader, the new Prime Minister. He is a great leader. I think he will stay for a long time, and it's great to have him at the White House. Thank you very much. Thank you. He is a young man. He is young and handsome, which I don't like. I'm not happy about this. Thank you very much for everything.
I appreciate the warm welcome from His Excellency President Donald Trump, and this is my first visit. This is my first visit to the United States of America. This visit was not a fleeting one, but rather a visit to announce an economic partnership. I spoke with His Excellency President Donald Trump. On September 30th, American forces will leave and American companies will enter. And it is always the economic partnership, not the military one, that creates a social relationship. I send my greetings. I come from the world's oldest civilization to its leading economic and technological center. Again, I thank His Excellency the President for the warm welcome.
Great. Thank you very much. Please, you may proceed.
Good morning. My name is Saad Al-Khattab, and I am the President of the United Nations. I have been in the armed forces for a long time. Is the military action against Iran a strategy to bring them back to the negotiating table, or is it to break them? So the regime will naturally
eventually fall? Well, we think we don't need the military there anymore. It's a very large operation. Now, all the oil companies are partnering with Iraq and are thriving. The relationship is great, a great relationship without needing the military. We're there to help them. We're there to protect them if necessary. We don't think that's necessary. What about their main one? I consider it an adversary. They may have considered it a friend, but I consider Iran an adversary, which was a big burden for Iraq because they were the bullies of the Middle East, as you know, and we were just talking about that. But they won't have that problem anymore because Iran has been very destabilized, and really their military power is just a small fraction of what it was just 4 months ago. So they won't have that problem. I think in part that gave them the freedom to do what was necessary, and that's one of the reasons why our oil companies are getting in there at unprecedented levels.
Thank you very much for the question. Thank you for your question. To begin with, there is a government program. The goal is for weapons to be limited to the state. And this is a fundamental point on which a decision has been made, and there is no choice in the matter. A large number of weapons have already been handed over by various criminal factions. Whoever hands over their weapons and becomes a political and civil entity will have our cooperation. Starting September 30th, there will be no need for factions to exist, since there is no longer any justification for them to remain. At the end of this year, we will announce the National Sovereignty Conference. The decision about Iraq belongs to the Iraqis, and our forces are fully capable of protecting the territory. After September 30th, we will not allow illegal weapons.
Thank you, Mr. President Trump. Could you explain your change of mind regarding the implementation of the 20% fee in the Strait of Hormuz? How did you come to the decision you just announced?
When I talked about this yesterday, I mentioned that we've been doing this for many years, and I never thought it was fair for us to protect the Strait without getting any real benefit from this situation. We don't need the oil, not at all. And that wasn't important to us, but it was important to our allies. It was important to people we get along with very well, including, the major Gulf countries. So I talked about this yesterday. I thought it was good. I got calls from several people from different countries, kings, emirs, and all those people that we all know and like. And they have actually been very strong partners. And they said, we would love to do this in a different way. We would like to invest in the United States with billions and billions of dollars and keep breaking records, because there has never been a moment like this in the United States, with the factories, with the industries, with everything else. And we would like to invest heavily in the United States instead of charging a fee. And I actually like that, because I don't think anyone should be able to charge a fee. For the Strait, or for any similar Strait arrangement in other regions of the world, I don't think anyone should really be in that position. But we were doing that as a reimbursement. The Gulf states are going to invest a huge amount of money in the United States, and that was very satisfying to me. I actually think it's much better.
If I may ask as well, do you know why the FBI is investigating Senator Graham's death? Have you heard about why they were at his house? Listening. Thank you.
Well, I don't know why. I think he had a problem. His father had a similar problem, as you know. It's something unique. At first, I heard they said it was clogged arteries, because he really did have clogged arteries. He had a problem with that. I wish he had taken better care of himself. I mean, you can fix that problem. But what happened actually was something very hard to detect. It wasn't related to any blockage. It was a totally different thing. And supposedly, and I reviewed all the medical reports I had, the White House doctors came and explained what happened. And that's something that's almost undetectable. And if it happens, there's not much you can do about it. It seems unfortunate, but there's not much you can do about it. If you look at his father, he died of the same thing at about the same age. So there wasn't much that could be done. They say it's almost undetectable. You can detect it if you have a really bad back pain. That's a sign. It's a bad sign. So if someone has back pain, it's really hard to imagine. But the fact is, that's one of the main signs. He used to say he had back problems, but nobody imagined it was because of that. So, and when it ruptures like it happened, it ruptured, there's not much you can do. I don't see much malice in that. I know there are conspiracy theories going around, and I don't think the FBI is doing this. I think the FBI is wasting time. Really? Just you, sir.
Regarding the previous question, this idea about the Strait of Hormuz doesn't exist anymore. That's all completely over. Thank you.
No, I just told you. You have Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, and mainly Said Sab, and then others. I spoke with all of them, and they would love to invest more money in the United States in record amounts, and that would be very acceptable. And so there is no tax. I don't like the concept of a tax. But at the same time, it's not fair for us to protect that strait for the world, for China and everyone. I don't mind protecting it for China or anyone else, but it's unfair that we're not compensated for it. We've been doing this for many years, and it bothers me. It already bothered me 20 or 25 years ago. During my first term, I did things like demanding that investments be made in the United States. But doing it this way, there's no tax. They're investing and getting a return on their money, and that's good. But they're going to make massive investments in the United States, and that's something I really like.
And can I ask you about today's meeting, and also if you talked about OPEC? There are reports that Iran is pushing for changes in OPEC, a bigger share, and they would even consider leaving.
Did he leave? Can I ask this gentleman what he's doing here? Do you want to know?
Prime Minister, do you intend to leave or stay in OPEC?
Fighting for change. And would you support him, sir? I support him. And you?
I supported him very early. I endorsed him, which I rarely do, but I've been successful at it. We just had Colombia, which was a big win. Argentina was another big win. We've had many. I endorsed, I think everyone I've endorsed abroad, they just win. And you know, I've heard very good things. I study a lot of history, and I really know a lot about the history of Iraq. And I followed what was happening in Iraq with the elections. I gave a strong endorsement because I was very dissatisfied with the expected winner. And this great gentleman, I think he will end up being a great leader. He won, and I am very happy. As for OPEC, the decision is his. Maybe you should ask him.
No. OPEC, we are one of its founding countries, but we want our right and a fair quota for Iraq. Iraq fought against Daesh and terrorism in all its forms with the support of the United States of America. The war against Daesh was costly and destroyed Iraq's infrastructure. The damage to Iraq exceeds $400 billion. To this day, cities remain destroyed and many people live in camps. I have a plan to bring them back, a fair share for Iraq.
If you remember, even as a civilian with no intention of running for president, I received a disproportionate amount of publicity, as you probably heard. And I used to say, don't go into Iraq, don't attack Iraq. Frankly, they attacked the wrong country and caused a lot of damage.
Thank you. Given the Iranian behavior, do you regret having lifted the naval blockade or granted sanctions waivers?
No, I gave them a chance. I wanted to give them a chance to make a deal. We agreed 2 days ago. It was done, but suddenly they couldn't handle it. They didn't like something in the agreement. They couldn't follow through. And they shot first, and it was a big mistake for them to shoot first because we finished them. They are very difficult people. For 47 years we put up with this. The USS Corvamore, if you go back in time, thousands of people, thousands of Americans were killed. Many soldiers were killed. Many soldiers are walking around or can't even walk. I mean, they were so badly injured. On their arms, on their legs, on their faces because of Soleimani, because of the bomb. They call it a roadside bomb. Most people call it a roadside bomb. It's a disaster. And I killed him in my first term. If I hadn't done that, maybe history would be different today. He was a mad genius. He was crazy, probably a lunatic, but he was a general and had total control over the country. And I really think the leaders of Iran were afraid of Soleimani, but I killed him. And by the way, along with him was also a very bad person. They were meeting at the airport, and a very bad person from Iraq, who happened to be the leader of Iraq, ended up being killed in that same incident. So I don't know if I did you a favor or not.
They've never asked you that question.
You'd probably know better than I would.
But I think what we did with Iran was take away almost all of its military capability.
Go ahead.
Explain that. Explain that.
He needs to hear that.
At that time, I wasn't involved in politics, and whenever I wanted to talk about the future, about what we were going to do, they would explain the recent past to me.
Thank you, Mr. President and Mr. Kurdistan. Mr. President, thank you for your time. Last year, in May, the Prime Minister of the Kurdistan region, Masroor Barzani, signed about $110 billion in energy agreements with American companies here in Washington, D.C. Mr. President, if Baghdad and Erbil cooperate better, this investment can grow, and grow. What is your message and advice for the leaders in Baghdad and Erbil so that they can work together? Why am I asking this question? Because you are our miracle makers, Mr. President.
I love this question. It's by far my favorite question so far. Thank you very much for the question. Look, Baghdad, I think, and I and this country, we're going to make amazing music together. We haven't been dealing much lately. 4 or 5 years with the previous administration. Iraq has tremendous potential because of its oil and for other reasons, but mainly because of its oil. And we're going to do a lot of business. We're going to create a lot of jobs for both countries, and we're going to extract a lot of oil. A lot of oil is being extracted, and American companies are doing it. Now, it's mainly American companies. They don't want to do business with others. They want to do business with America, and that's good. And that's one of the reasons why I felt so strongly that he would be a great prime minister, and I fought for it.
How would you describe your relationship with the Kurdistan regional government at this moment? Because the Prime Minister made a statement yesterday and showed full support for you.
Each region of Iraq is like a part of the body. I don't differentiate one part from another, nor can I cut off a part of my own body. Kurdistan is a vital part of Iraq, just like Basra or other provinces.
But just because such good things were said about him, does that mean he likes the man who said those good things? You may proceed, please.
Thank you, President. I have a question for you and another for the Prime Minister.
Thank you.
The first question, Mr. Prime Minister, why did you choose the United States as your first trading partner? And which ones? What concrete measures will you take when you return to Iraq to ensure that the agreements you are signing in Washington, D.C. are implemented?
With a master's in finance, I analyze the economic situation. This requires a partner to share this responsibility, the main one being the United States of America. So, my visit was neither brief nor pointless, and it wasn't emotional but rational. Inflation slowed to 3.5% last week.
Yes, thank you.
Is this continuing without strike issues?
I think so. I think it will. Inflation has gone down. We inherited the worst inflation in our country's history. In 48 years, it was the worst in the country's history under Biden's Sleepy Joe. He may be sleepy, but no one creates inflation like he does. I inherited this and was blamed, but it's not my fault. We're putting this to rest, and we've done a great job. Scott, Howard, Marco, and Pete, because he's keeping an eye on his money, right? But they did a fantastic job. We all did a fantastic job. So we had the worst inflation in history, in the history of our country. I mean, we had months when it was 9%, 10%, and now we have a report that just came out. It just came out now. Thank you. The report was incredible. Inflation dropped a lot. That means prices are dropping a lot, and we're doing a great job. Remember that for the elections. Remember the midterms. I'm saying that to that camera. Remember that because nobody else was able to do this. Prices are dropping a lot, and we're going to bring them down even more.
People around the world are waiting for your Thursday announcement about the voting machines and election integrity. Can you give us a preview of what to expect? Thanks.
I'll save it for later. It will address this issue, and we will have more to say. But watch the people watching. But I prefer to save it for later, but it's really big news. It's really, really big news, and our country needs to get back on track. But that's it. That's what we're going to talk about on Thursday. There's nothing more important because without free and fair elections, you don't have a country. We'll discuss other topics too, but this announcement is very important. Yes.
Mr. President, yes. President, your government has sought to shape Iraqi leadership and condition American support on disarming pro-Iranian militias. With the September 15th deadline approaching, what happened in Baghdad? Is that all? And is the withdrawal of United States troops from Kurdistan still proceeding as planned?
Everything is on track. We're doing great here. We're here right now. I even ordered an unexpected lunch, right? So that's how it is. But no, normally I don't think I've ever done this, skipping lunch. I said, let's have lunch because I like him.
At least once.
I like him, so I think this will work out well.
Sir, do you intend to sign the sanctions against Russia in a week or two? Are you going to sign it?
Well, I know that Lindsey Graham really wanted that. I think they might be adding Iran. They're going to add Iran, which is something very important if they do that. They might add Hezbollah too, to support sanctions if you do business with Hezbollah. So we're looking into that, but they're seriously considering it in honor of Lindsey. That was his thing. He wanted that more than anything else, you know? You know how he felt. And there's a good chance that will happen, but they'd like to include Iran and Hezbollah in it. That's what I'm hearing.
If there are secondary sanctions on China, India, and Europe?
We'll see. That hasn't been discussed.
Prime Minister al-Kadhimi was not able to bring under state control what is in the hands of the militias. How does your decision help you achieve that vision? And my second question, how do you see the future relations between the Kurdistan region and Iraq?
I think everything will work out. I think people in the Middle East, believe it or not, is coming together. We are getting rid of the bully of the Middle East. Iran was the bully of the Middle East. They bullied Iraq. They bullied all the countries. They were they. There was widespread fear in the Middle East about other countries. I understand that, but there was fear. But there's no more fear because their military capability was destroyed, and there's no more fear. I think the Middle East is coming together like never before. You can't have a dominant force like Iran, which would kill 52,000 protesters, and they did. Nobody likes to talk about it. I don't like to talk about it. They killed 52,000 protesters. So in the end, I believe all the regions are coming together. And this one for sure is going to be one of the great leaders. He's going to be one of the great leaders of the Middle East. Please go ahead. Yes, please explain that. And I think we could talk about this for a long time, but what matters is that now we have a fantastic relationship with many countries. I just got back from NATO. Many of you were there and saw how that happened. It was phenomenal. Pretty much a celebration, to be honest, and they love the United States. They even like me, but they love the United States, and we're going to cut costs there by hundreds of billions of dollars, maybe. But the NATO event was incredible. Today's event is incredible. This is potentially a very great country, and many people would say it's a great country. We're helping. We want to help. We have a fantastic relationship with the new Prime Minister. He is a strong person. He is a very brilliant guy. He is very well known, or he wouldn't have won that election. It was a highly competitive election, and he came out victorious, and that's a great story. I mean, it's a really big story. And I just want to say that the United States has never been better. We're doing well. Today, there are more people working in the United States than ever in history. Thank you. There are more buildings, factories, industries, and artificial intelligence. There are automobile factories being built in record numbers, more than we've ever had before. Tariffs have been used wisely, and companies and countries are coming to the country in large numbers to build factories because that way there are no tariffs. We have $19.2 trillion. The Biden administration, on the other hand, had less than $1 trillion in 4 years. We are at $19.2 trillion in 12 months. Nothing like this has ever been seen. Our relationship with Iraq, I would say, has gone from not so good to excellent. And we are going to have a long-term relationship with Iraq. We are going to have a long-term relationship with a man who will be a great leader. You'll see, mark my words. I knew what I was doing. This man is going to be a great leader in the Middle East. His influence will spread throughout the Middle East, and we are very happy to have him with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for watching this video until the end. Support our project and contribute financially through the Pix key that appears on your screen. We are an independent channel focused on keeping you informed with the truth. Your contribution helps us keep going.